no computer science degree, no previous experience, you are new to tech. In this video, I'll be showing you how you can actually move from a nobody in tech to a front-end junior web developer. I am celebrating 6 months of working remotely as a front-end web developer. I actually dropped a video about my first month experience working as a front-end web developer remotely. Well, you can check that video out. It will be in the description. In this video, I will be actually walking you through the process you need to take to be a front-end web developer. Number one is learn HTML and CSS. Well, HTML and CSS are the building block for front-end web development. HTML is used for structuring the website, while CSS is for styling your entire website. The colors you add to your button, the font size, the font type, these are all CSS. And you need to learn CSS as fundamental for you to actually be a front-end web developer. Okay, if you're considering taking a free course, well, YouTube is actually a good place for you to start. I made a video how to actually pick the right course if you want to learn on YouTube. For me, I took a course on Code Academy. I'll actually put a link. They have a free subscription as well, so you can actually try them out. The second thing here is to learn Bootstrap. So when I started with HTML and CSS, but I quickly moved to Bootstrap because Bootstrap helps me build a website fast, and it comes with a lot of components that will actually transform your design to the next level as a junior front-end developer. So you can take your time, learn Bootstrap. For a start, it will look confusing, but the documentation is actually okay, and all you need to do is, I would say, take a crash course on Travasi Media about Bootstrap, and from there you can make the documentation your best friend and read a lot of documentation. It will help you out. So the next thing I'll work on to now is JavaScript. Yeah, JavaScript. I know this is a programming language. HTML and CSS, they are not programming languages, but JavaScript is a programming language. It's a programming language, and this is where the whole um, issue, or the should I say, this is where the difficulty actually begins. This is where you know, okay, yeah, I'm coding now. The submission of forms on your website is handled by JavaScript. So you can take your time within 1 to 2 months, let me say, to get the basics of JavaScript. And for this, you can actually learn on YouTube as well. Make sure you watch my video on how to pick a course, or you can go with either Skillshare, Code Academy, or even Udemy for your learning. Yeah, so take courses, and as you learn, you build your portfolio as well. So the next thing I'm going to go into after all this is Git. Git is a version control system if you're new to it, but actually it's easy to learn the basics and push all the codes you have been writing to GitHub, which is an example of a Git platform. So GitHub is a good start. Make sure you learn how to push, how to clone, how to make a commit, and how to write a commit message, a good one to actually keep track of all your versions. Okay, the next thing I'm going to say is as a front end web developer, I'm going to be honest with you guys. You should build projects that will help you understand API better. Yes, because this is 2022, and a lot of company would demand a front end web developer that knows a lot about APIs. Yes, API is a way the back end and the front end of a website or web application actually communicate. So as a front end web developer, I would say this is, for me, I would say it's a must. Make sure you understand API, RESTful API, and how they communicate with the back end. Not just understanding how the communication takes place, but know how to use it. Learn how to consume API. There are free courses on YouTube. And me, I'm an advocate of a structured course. So if you can pay a premium, please, you do it. pay a premium and learn all of these skills I've actually mentioned here. The other thing here I'm going to talk about is responsive design and UX UI. Well, I merged responsive design and UX UI because they go together. When you talk about responsive design, we are talking about accessing your website or your web application on another device other than the desktop or the laptop. So you have the mobile, which most users actually use. So if you are building any kind of product or a website for a company, you should know, okay, 75 to 90% of users will be coming from the mobile phone. So responsive design is a must. As you learn CSS and Bootstrap, you should actually learn the fundamentals of responsive design. And that of the UX, this is where it comes in. The UX UI there, you're not to master UX UI or so. You understand? All you need is to understand the principle of design, understand SEO, and how to develop a friendly user interface. When I mean friendly, I mean something simple, something a 6 years old can actually come to your website and actually navigate through your website easily without requesting the attention of the front end web developer. So understand the basics of UX UI. This is very important. UX, UI, responsive design, they go together. SEO, how to place, how to use the appropriate colors, how to actually combine branding with your building the website. This may come in pack if you're actually learning UX, UI. So learn how Figma works. And one of the important thing about this stuff is that as you get employed, you tend to work remotely. That's where you make use of Git a lot. And as you work remotely, you make use of Figma, which is very good for sharing of project between developers and the UI UX designer. And as a front-end web developer, every time you are actually developing an interface designed by UX designer, so learn the fundamentals of UX UI. It will save you a lot. So as you learn the fundamentals, make sure you learn how to translate a UI into the front end code. Make sure it's pixel perfect or picture perfect. That is very important. It will help you stand out a lot. So these are things I would recommend based on my experience so far. The next thing we'll be talking about is for you to learn a framework. Okay, now in the professional industry, well, you will just come in here with your CSS, HTML, and JavaScript won't actually get you that job you want. I'm not saying it can't get you the job, but maybe not the kind of pay you want or something like that. Most companies these days will require you to have uh, a knowledge of a certain framework or a library. As a front-end web developer, I would recommend Vue, Angular, or React. React being the popular one. I myself, I make use of React and Next.js, which is another React framework. Well, for a start, learn one of the three, which is React, Vue, or Angular. I'm not going to make a pick for you, so you go do your homework, do your research, and again, try to check your country which framework has the most job or is the most sought out for. Then you try to get your hands dirty with some projects around that same framework. So companies that will be hiring you will know, oh yes, he has actually proven or she has proven he can actually work with this framework. I think if you can get all of this for a start, it's okay for a start. Getting a job won't be that hard for you. So you need the HTML, which we talked about, is the foundation for building any website. CSS for styling the website. We talk about JavaScript, which we use to add functionalities to our front end website. And I mentioned Bootstrap. I forgot to tell you, Bootstrap is also a CSS framework. So Bootstrap is also there. There are other frameworks like Material UI, Tailwind CSS, Chakra UI, which they are all good. But make sure you pick just one. Learn just one for a start. You need to get your hands dirty with just one before you start moving. And by then you will know which one will actually suit what you want, let's say as a freelancer or for that certain job. Then the next thing is please learn a framework and get your Git skills good. You can start with GitHub or GitLab, which is good. Well, if you can do all of this and I assure you, when you start applying for job with your portfolio, you will get recommended by people and recruiters who actually like your um, your portfolio and they may consider you. That's just it. It's highly competitive out there, so make sure you get all of this before you start applying for jobs. And again, I will stress this. Most of the times when you hear people talk about roadmaps to being a front-end web developer, they do omit the RESTful API stuff. I'm not going to omit that in this video. Please, I'm in the front-end web development space, and I will say this: if you're a front end web developer, you are more than just a designer. You are more than just that. You do more than designing UI. You also consume APIs. That's real, and you should learn it. Learn how to use API from the front end. Learn fetch API using JavaScript. You can use Axios. Fetch is actually the fundamental, but make sure you have built an app that have consumed API before. Just get your hands dirty with API. It's a must for me. I would say it's a must in 2022. You can't just go on as a front end web developer without learning APIs. Please don't do that. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That's the best you can do for me. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're new here, and I love you. See you in the next video where I'll be talking about how to prepare for interview if you're a front-end web developer. Thank you so much, guys. See you in the next video.